She sat quietly under the warm church lights. Her hands trembled against the paper. 8 years had passed since the night she lost everything. The night the river took her brother. "My name is Jung-Soon," she began softly. "And this is my story. Once, she was a North Korean soldier, disciplined, hungry, and obedient. Hunger had become her only friend. The dorms stank of damp uniforms and despair. The women moved like shadows, hollow-eyed and silent. Rumors whispered through the bunks. Families dying, villages vanishing. Every night, Jung-Soon lay awake on her thin blanket. Her thoughts drifted to her parents, to her little brother, Dong-Wook. Her mother's last letter said, "We're fine." But Jung-Soon knew it wasn't true. Months passed before she got a week of leave. She walked home 60 kilometers on foot. Trains had stopped running. The roads were empty, lined with silence. When she reached her village, even the dogs were gone. It smelled of dust and sorrow. Inside her house, her mother lay still on the floor, hands outstretched. Her father was beside her. And in the corner, a sound, faint as a breath. Her brother, Dong-Wook. He was almost weightless, only bones and skin. "Nuna, I'm hungry," he whispered. Something shattered inside her, and something else hardened. She begged neighbors for food. Most turned away. One old man gave her a handful of corn. She boiled it, one spoon at a time, feeding the boy. He began to breathe again. That night, she made a choice. They would escape. To China. Across the river, she sought whispers of help. A man, a missionary from the south, found her. "If you cross, you may never return," he warned. "I have nowhere left to return to," she said. 3 nights later, no moon, no sound. She carried Dong-Wook on her back. "Hold tight," she told him. He nodded weakly. The river was colder than death. Each step sank her deeper into the current. She could hardly breathe. The missionary led them ahead, whispering prayers. Halfway across, the current struck hard. It pulled like invisible hands. Water rose to her chest, then to her neck. She gritted her teeth. Almost there, she gasped. Then, a sudden wave. Her body spun. The world turned black. When she surfaced again, coughing and gasping, her back felt lighter. Too light. "Dong-Wook!" No answer. Only darkness. She reached wildly through the water. Nothing. The missionary shouted, "He's gone!" She screamed with no sound, afraid of the guards nearby. On the far shore, she collapsed. Mud stuck to her skin. The river had taken him. Years passed. She learned to live again in the south. Learned new words. Learned how to eat without guilt. But every night, she dreamed of the river, of the weight that vanished from her back. 8 years later, the same pastor called her. "Would you share your story in church?" She hesitated. "There's someone you should meet," he said. That Sunday, she spoke before strangers. Her voice trembled. She talked about hunger, death, and the night she crossed. And when I reached the shore, she said, "My brother was gone." She lowered her head. Tears finally fell. Then a young pastor stood. "My name is Dong-Wook," he said. The air froze. Jung-Soon looked up and saw a pair of eyes that once begged her for life. "I was that boy," he said. "The one who fell into the river." But someone pulled me out a pastor from the other side. He looked at her. "Today, I understand why I was saved." They both moved at once. She ran forward. He did too. They met in the center of the church. She wrapped her arms around him, sobbing. "Dong-Wook, Nuna." Applause filled the hall. But all they could hear was silence, the echo of the river. Later, she would say this. "The river didn't separate us. It only guided us to the same shore, just by different paths."